Hello and welcome to BBC World News. I'm Adnan Nawaz. Our top story this hour. Greek voters overwhelmingly reject the terms of a bailout deal. The result triggered celebrations in the Greek capital Athens. Prime Minister Tsipras said this time the debt will be on the negotiating table. And in the past few minutes, we've heard the surprising news that the Greek Finance Minister Yanis Varoufakis is resigning. He says some of Greece's creditors didn't want him attending negotiations. Once again, our other main story this hour. A thrilling Women's World Cup final. The United States beat Japan 5-2. They lift the trophy for a record third time.
Hello, I'm Sally Bundock with the business stories. Of course, we're looking at Greece. Can it stay or does it now have to go? The no vote triggers fears. A banking crisis will push Greece out of the Eurozone once and for all. And the vote there sends world markets lower in Asia. Shares were sliding, whilst safe havens like the Japanese yen are very much in favour.
Hello again. We're going to start with our breaking news this hour because in the past few minutes, the Greek Finance Minister Yanis Varoufakis has said he is resigning. It's a sudden announcement. It, of course, follows the referendum on Sunday in which the Greek people voted overwhelmingly against the terms offered by Greece's international creditors. Well, Yanis Varoufakis has issued a statement, and true to form, it makes for very interesting reading. He is a man who quite simply has annoyed a lot of other Eurozone nations in its dealings with Greece. He says, I shall wear the creditors' loathing with pride. He says he hopes that potentially his resignation may help Alexis Tsipras and his Syriza party, the ruling party in Greece, finally reach a settlement with international creditors. But over 61% of people on Sunday, they voted that they will not accept the terms offered by the international creditors. Yanis Varoufakis is saying that he hopes that there will be some sort of debt restructuring when negotiations between Eurozone nation and Greece begin again. He has called for a rejection of the austerity measures. That's been his position all the way through. He says they come with too large a price tag attached. So Yanis Varoufakis, having been appointed just earlier this year, is stepping down from his position as the Greek finance minister. Dr. Vassilis Monastiriotis from the London School of Economics is here, an economist and expert on the Greek economy. Doctor, thank you very much for coming in. Are you surprised? Is it significant that Yanis Varoufakis is not going to be in the job any longer?
I think it is quite surprising because he had stated that with a strong no vote he would be able to bring an agreement for Greece very quickly, 24 hours, he said. In the beginning, but I think it is a positive development. There's clearly a break in trust and relations between Varoufakis and the rest of the finance minister in the ministers in the Eurogroup. So I think this is something that will facilitate better discussions and perhaps a better deal for Greece.
But do you think it might change any of the policies that Greece would like to implement, or will Syriza stay true to the Varoufakis-Tsipras vision, if we can call it that?
I think, of course, Syriza will have to stay with what they promised and the pledges they have made so far, and especially with such a strong no vote in Greece. It's very difficult to see how they will then go back to the things that the previous governments have agreed. But the removal, if you think the stepping down of Varoufakis allows for more flexibility and perhaps for a new set of concessions by the Europeans and by Greece. So a different discussion altogether, I think.
It's interesting that you say that hopefully his non-appearance at the next negotiations may help, because that implies that there's a personal issue here. The personalities have possibly, do you think, hampered what should be really a financial deal, an economic consideration?
Absolutely. We've received many signals and statements to that effect. The style of Professor Varoufakis was quite aggressive and also not understanding exactly the way that the Eurogroup meetings work, how the solutions and the negotiations are happening at the Eurogroup level, at the European level, and there was no practical discussion on practical issues, I think, or that's what we're hearing from many different sources. So exactly now the space is open so that we can have discussions on the details and not, if you want, an insistence on different views of how capitalism works, how the European Union works, and how it should work.
Let's talk about that, about how capitalism works, because clearly a certain section of the Eurozone, and maybe the most influential section, France, Germany, etc., they believe in one way of running national economies. The Syriza party has a different idea, and some people are even saying this morning that the left wing of Europe has a new hero, and that is Alexis Tsipras. Does that vision still have credibility, his idea of how to run an economy?
Well, first of all, there's a big fallacy to say that, let's say, Germany and France have a common vision about how the European Union works. The whole Eurozone project was built on this kind of conflict between two very different views. The French view of a more relaxed, more discretion in fiscal policy and more politicized economic policy versus the German version, which is based on rules. You set some rules, you obey them, and you suffer the consequences if you break the rules. The fact that the two appear now unified, the French vision and the German vision, says a lot about how different and how not participating in this kind of understanding is the view of Syriza. So I think it is true that the very strong no by the Greek electorate yesterday will possibly create some dynamic in favor of a different interpretation of what the Eurozone should be doing and how what decisions should be taken. But I don't think this concerns the immediate future in Greece. It concerns perhaps in the medium term the future of the Eurozone. And we have voices, including Hollande in France, but also Renzi in Italy, who are in favor of a more discretionary fiscal policy, as we call it, more power to the politicians than to the technocrats.
Dr. Monastiriotis, thank you very much indeed for coming in. Really appreciate your analysis.